Not so good? We can go outside or so, or would be better?
I think we're pretty good.
Okay.
So tell me about what happened at Bard.
Yeah. Well, it's early March, and about a month ago, I received a letter saying that my contract wouldn't be renewed after 21 years. And that's precipitated a fairly substantial struggle between myself and the administration. Their idea is that this is hard times, which everybody agrees, and that people have to be let go according to their usefulness to the school. My idea is that there's a much bigger issue here because I've been an outspoken critic of the Zionist worldview and the state of Israel now for quite a few years, and Bard is a school that has many deep connections to the Zionist and Israeli, position. They're very much part of that system, whatever you want to call it, the lobby or the apparatus or the Zionist power structure. It's a very real part of our society, and it's plays a terrible role in our society. And I wanted to not just speak out about it, but try to interrupt it, because we're going to talk a lot about Gaza here today and the terrible things that have gone on there and Israeli human rights violations. But my very strong thesis is that you can't just talk about Israel in isolation from the country that enables it and gives it impunity, namely the United States. And if you're going to talk about the United States, you have to talk about the institutions within the United States that enable Israeli impunity. And academia is a big part of that, both because of the way they punish individuals such as myself, but also because, they control this discourse. They control what's considered, acceptable and the like. And you basically have a country of sheep who just follow, orders and just go along with things. Well, that's breaking down now. There's much more of a concerted effort to resist, because Gaza kind of got out of hand, and other factors which we can talk about later. But so it's a critical moment. It's a critical moment, not just to deal with Israeli human rights violations, which are immense, but to deal with the enabling institutions in our society. And I submitted that Bard is one such institution, not because it has any direct, it's not like full of people who work with the Israeli Defense Forces and things like that, but more importantly, it stifles debate. It keeps faculty in a position of intimidation, of silence. And as we know, silence enables atrocities in the world. And so I basically would not be silent, and that's my campaign. There are things that I petition. I have specific grievances. The evaluation procedure by means of which I was decided to be let go was bogus in my view, and we can talk a lot about that. And it's going through various grievance procedures and, perhaps even legal procedures, although I'm not there yet. But that's just my predicament. My predicament is important to me, of course, but what's important to the world is the way in which the United States enables Israeli aggression.
Is there pressure on Bard to divest?
Not really.
No?
In part because Bard doesn't have much in the way of securities. What it does have is a wealthy group of donors who are mostly finance capitalists, and the president of Bard is charismatic, and he runs the school largely through donations from the board of trustees, who are, the very same people who wrecked the American economy, out of Wall Street. So that has another dimension to it, of course. But there's no divestment movement at Bard. Everything I've done along those lines has been met with silence. And but, even more remarkable, there was no protest against Gaza at Bard. And
not among the student population?
Not even among the student population.
There's no SDS or anybody else?
Well, there is, but they're frightened. And, if I'm isolated and not in much of a position to affect things, and I don't have, people with me, the students, they're well-meaning and they understand it. I even taught a course and got a lot of positive responses. But when it comes right down to it, they're not taking the steps that they used to take. As recently as 2004, the Bar students were very, very militant, used to do all kinds of, stuff and protest. And that changed. The school has actually moved markedly to the right politically, and that too has to be taken into account. So I'm not fighting alone. I've got a lot of support from the world at large, because people realize this is a turning point, and they see my case as a way of making a difference in the larger picture. And there's a website that people can check this out on, which is codz.org, Committee on Open Discussion of Zionism.org, where this is detailed.
So what can people do to assist you in your current plight?
Well, log on to that site, put their names down, send an email in there, and we're creating a large list, and we're planning big events. If you like the statements I write on the site, I wrote a statement which is posted on the site, and if people agree with that, they could write a letter of protest to the president of the school, and there are instructions on the website for that. They're going to get a form letter back, saying, Professor Kovel was not fired, and was not fired for political reasons, and we love him, but we need him anymore. That's basically what they're going to get. But the point is, the more letters, the more pressure. And in fact, there's been a considerable turn in my favor. A large academic association called the Middle Eastern Studies Association, which is pretty much all of the voices in academia for, Palestine, Israel, Iraq, and so on and so forth, come out strongly in my favor. And they've told Bar that Bar has to reevaluate me and make a statement affirming much more sincere support for academic freedom. So we'll take it from there. But there are lots of twists and turns in this road yet, and I encourage the viewers to check it out on codz.org, write a letter if that moves them, and give us your name, and we'll keep in touch with you.
Great. Well, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
West Side, and I got West Side Los Angeles.